The webinar is now live.
I'm done. Yeah, mine, yes, I'm done. Ya estamos bien.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us today for our 39th presentation of what we call our Launch and Learn webinar series. A webinar series that was born from the collaboration between CAMACOL. At this point in time, it was also the FIU College of Business, CYBER, which stands for Center for International Business Education and Research. And the intent of this webinar series is primarily to strengthen and extend our commercial links, not just for our current business owners in Miami and the rest around the world, but also for our students. So thank you very much for joining us once again. For those ones who are joining us today for the first time, my name is Jorge Zumaeta. I'm the Senior Director of Academic Planning and Accountability, Continuing Education, and dual enrollment at Florida International University, FIU. Right now, as the FIU, those three letters are the acronym of our university, which is, by the way, the fourth largest university in the US, with more than 58,000 students. I would like to go over some housekeeping items for the better functioning of our webinar. First of all, this webinar will be recorded. So everybody knows that this will be recorded and the link will be shared later by one of my associates if you would like to revisit some parts of this presentation. Also, all your microphones are muted to assist with facilitate with the dynamics of this conversation. If you would like to pose a question to any of our panelists, please use the chat and question Q&A tools at the bottom of your screen. At the end of this webinar, a message will appear inviting you to participate in a very short survey, just for us to gather some information about what you think about this presentation, one, and two, about future interests that you have in order for you to address it. with this, I would like to invite one of my colleagues, a colleague that works in a different agency, CAMACOL, which is the Latin Chamber of Commerce of the US, and Mr. Rosalba Cepeda, which will be introducing our panelists. Rosalba?
Jorge, will be Estefania.
Exactly, it's Estefania, the one, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for letting me know that. So with that said, I'm passing the podium, the digital podium, to Mrs. Estefania Laredo, who will be introducing our panelists.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Jorge, for the introduction. It's an honor to introduce today's panelists. Representing CAMACOL from the United States, President Joe T. Joe T is a president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce of the United States, CAMACOL. He's an entrepreneur and economic developer specializing in the international business sector with extensive experience in Europe, Asia, and the Latin American region. During his career, he has represented various governmental entities on an honorary basis in many diplomatic, cultural, and commercial areas. His 30-year track record in the food, industrial products, industrial materials, energy, and mining sectors has positioned him to act as a multilateral bridge between the commercial, diplomatic, and cultural communities in the United States, Asia, Europe, and the Latin American region. Locally, Joe has tackled complex socially responsible issues such as economic development for the disadvantaged, welfare and employment, and nutrition. Welcome, President T. Now, representing the Business Confederation of the Community of Portuguese-Speaking Countries, CE-CPLP, Mozambique, Mr. Salimo Abdula. Mr. Salimo Abdula is a businessman with more than 35 years of experience. He's well recognized and respected in the business context within government, civil society, and the international community. He defends the concept that the private sector is the engine of Mozambican economic development and should have greater participation in shaping the country's economic policy. Currently, Mr. Abdula chairs the Business Confederation of the Community of Portuguese-Speaking Countries, CE-CPLP, a business association that defends the interests of the business sector of the 9 CPLP countries. Mr. Salimo Abdula is also chairman of the board of directors of Intellect Holdings SA, a business group that operates in the areas of energy, advertising, tourism, finance, mineral resources, telecommunications, real estate, and consulting. The company is the 10th largest company of the country. He contributed to the institutional development and creation of the Mozambique Trade Association, ACM, and the Confederation of Mozambican Business Associations, CTA. He also served as a member of parliament in the first term of the multi-party legislative assembly after the first multi-party elections in Mozambique. As a member of parliament, his participation was crucial, linking parliament and the Mozambican private sector. Mr. Salimo Abdula was chairman of the board of directors of Vodacom Mozambique, one of the largest mobile operations in the country. At the diplomatic level, Mr. Salimo Abdula is honorary consul of the Kingdom of Malaysia in Mozambique, acting as a promoter of different types of relations, especially of business relations between Malaysia and Mozambique. Now I will pass the floor to my colleague, Dr. Zumaeta.
Jorge, you are muted.
Well, one of those hiccups when you're broadcasting live. But thank you to my colleague, Estefania Laredo, who leads the international initiatives at CAMACOL, one of the most important information chambers of commerce in the USA. What a wonderful treat we are having today. I mean, first of all, on one side, we have the honor, the privilege of having our friend, colleague, President Joe Chi, who is an icon to the Latin American community in the US and around the world, because he travels a lot and is very well known in different parts of the world. And today he's broadcasting directly from Turkey. And then we have, for the first time, and hopefully not the last, and hopefully we can see each other relatively soon, Dr. Salimo Abdula, representing the Spanish-speaking countries around the world. I mean, by that, I mean, it's mind-boggling when you start looking at, you know, when you are talking about Portugal, Brazil, Cabo Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Sao Tome, Angola, Mozambique, and Timor-Leste. How many countries are there in different continents, the American continent, North American, South American continents, Africa, Asia, Europe. What a wonderful trip, Dr. Salimo Abdula. Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with you, to host you together with President Xi. Because of CAMACOL, we were able to put this together so we can bring this to our audience. And with this, let me start with the first set of questions so we can let our students, our business owners know a little bit more about what the Portuguese-speaking community can bring to the table and what opportunities are there. With that, let me give you a minute to welcome our audience, Dr. Salimo Abdula.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zumaeta. It's a pleasure to speak with you after being physical 2 years ago in Miami. So, and glad to see whole healthy, and our friend President Xi, which enjoyed life, so in big style. So I will manage to speak in my Portuguese or in English, but the interest is seeing and the priority is to good communication.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
If may I will speak about the first question that Dr. Zumaeta raised to me as President of the Business Confederation. So I try to resume and you made very well, the CPLP is the organization composed by Portuguese-speaking countries. We have been created on July 17, 1996, with the aim of strengthening friendship and political and diplomatic cooperation between the member states, with a view to further strengthening the CPLP in the international. Initially, it was composed of the 8 Portuguese-speaking countries, having joined as a full member. Equatorial Guinea, since July 2014, was making up 9 members country today. So the 3 pillars that supported the creation of the CPLP are the Portuguese language, political diplomatic dialogue and cooperation. But today, with the work of the CE-CPLP, the Business Confederation, and other organizations of an economical and social nature, we have recognized the 4th pillar, the pillar of economic and business cooperation. So the CE-CPLP, it is important to clarify that there is the CPLP led by the governments of the country members, and there is the CE-CPLP, the Business Confederation, led by the private sector. We are the CE-CPLP, the Business Confederation, composed by organizations such as companies, associations, confederations, chambers of commerce, etc., from those 9 CPLP countries, as I mentioned before, that play important role for the economical development of each country. So as a business confederation, beyond the historical, cultural, and the linguistic ties of the community, we focus and extend our efforts to the economy, working to make the community a strong and cohesive economic bloc. This is our vision as a business confederation, and fortunately, we are achieving it, and it is becoming a reality. To achieve this objective, we work very actively with the governments, business, and world society within the 9 CPLP countries and in other partners countries also. We have been proposing solutions to become CPLP more economically active in the world. As an example, the Business Confederation developed and presented in 2018 the proposal for mobility in the community, which a view to reducing barriers to the movements of people and goods. We also present and have been working since 2014 on the proposal for the creation of the CPLP Development Fund or bank to finance business with the potential to generate value. That was on behalf of the Business Confederation made by our colleague, Dr. João Figueiredo, is one of the most important bankers in the CPLP community, is Mozambican also. They developed this plan and we present to the political leaders, and this time was East Timor on 2015. So on July 17 of 2021, the Angolan CPLP presidency made a commitment to work for this strengthening of the CPLP economical and business pillar at this same summit. The agreement and mobility within the CPLP was signed, and the commitment to work on the creation of the CPLP bank or investment fund as assumed. This decision represents a great victory for our books. So for this first question, I will resume on this position, then I'm happy to continue to other points, certainly.
Thank you, Dr. Abdula, for sharing that brief history of the community of Portuguese language speaking countries, the CPL.
Let me just add some which is very important. I'm just 1 minute. I must say that when I say okay, I'll continue this on second question to not confuse the panelists. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Abdula. With that, let me bring to the podium President Joe Chi to give us a little bit of the history and the mission, the vision of CAMACOL and the role of CAMACOL in the USA. President Chi? President Chi, you're muted. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Jorge. And hello, Mr. Abdula. Salimo, how are you? How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Dr. Chi. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure to be with you again. It's been some time. It's been almost about a year since we've seen each other. A lot of things have happened, as we probably know, and I'm glad that everything has turned out fine from your side as well. And over here at CAMACOL, one of the things that we've been doing is we've been very busy during the last year or so. We've been putting together a lot of our local and domestic alliances in order. Right now, we have approximately 300 chamber alliances here in the United States, which makes us a very well-connected group. And over here in the United States, as I spoke to you last time, we are very, very interested in having better connections with Africa, especially through the Confederation of Chambers in Mozambique. We do bring a lot of resources, not only from Miami, where we're located, but also from our 300 plus chamber alliances around the United States as well too. And I believe that a lot of collaboration can be done between the United States and Africa, which is one of the areas which for us, it has not been easy to connect to Africa, but I believe that through the Confederation of Portuguese Businesses headed by you, I believe that this is a start of our greater collaboration with Africa. So we can bring from CAMACOL a lot of different resources, not only in the United States, but also from all of Central America and also South America as well, where we have been working for the last more than 45 years in this area. So there's a lot of collaboration that we can bring to a table. I believe also that, for example, in the area of being able to near source our and also alternative source our manufacturing here in the United States, I believe that Africa would be a very valuable partner. And at the same time, we also extend ourselves as a platform for Africa to the rest of Latin America. I understand that the Confederation of Portuguese Businesses is very well connected to Brazil, but we can offer connections to the other 20 plus countries in Latin America as well too.
Thank you, Yoshi, President of CAMACOL. What a beautiful opportunity! I'm just thinking about the magnitude of different connections that we can have, in South Asia, in Africa, in Europe, and obviously in Latin America, and here in the U.S. For different reasons, with CAMACOL for sure, and we have a large Portuguese-speaking population in Miami-Dade, and also in Broward County, where we have the city of Deerfield Beach. Hopefully, our colleague Mrs. Gigi Chasu, who is the Director of Economic Development at the city of Deerfield Beach, that has a large representation of Portuguese-speaking people in that city. And the opportunities of engaging and nurturing some businesses is very tangible. With that, let me pass to the second question. Let me go to you, Dr. Abdula. From the business point of view, what are the competitive advantages that the Portuguese-speaking countries have to offer?
So thank you, Dr. Zumaeta. I was glad this warmest of Mr. Joshi, our friend, still on, and I've done some work, and I'll explain later, to maintain this ambition of to link Miami as the most closer part of the USA to the continent of Africa. For sure, we will work on behalf of the Portuguese African countries, the CE-CPLP. But let me tell you, the CPLP covers a universe of more than 280 million citizens in 9 countries and 4 continents. So the 9 CPLP members countries are, you mentioned, Angola, Brazil, Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, Mozambique, Portugal, São Tomé and Príncipe, and East Timor. These are on 4 continents: Africa, America, Asia, and Europe. So, on that, we are in 5 regional economic communities, such as European Union, Mercosur, ECOWAS, ECAS, and SADC on the south area of region of Africa, which and we tend to expand to 6 will be Asian. We expect it soon. So the CPLP has higher potential to become a world economic reference in sectors such as energy, agriculture, tourism, and service, for example. This potential resides in its abundance resource, which represent a large portion of the existing amount in the world, namely arable land, water, young population, mineral resource, cultural diversity, and others. For example, in my country, Mozambique, the country which I'm a national citizen, is a growing country with land, water, mineral source, young people, as I mentioned, and a lot of needs in terms of infrastructures, know-how, products and services to support, for example, the gas industry, which makes the country a very attractive country for investment in areas such as transportation, tourism, oil and gas, agriculture, and others. So we are looking for partners to help us play an important role in the economical integration of the CPLP countries in different markets, sharing with us their know-how, technology, financial, and human resource. For example, in the oil and gas sector, it is expected that within 2 decades, the Portuguese-speaking countries community will be responsible for 25 to 27% of the world production. Can you imagine the amount of opportunities to be generated by the value chain in this sector only? So this dialogue today is a great satisfaction for us, as it represents a strong possibility for us to become together drivers of the CPLP business development in a win-win partnership. So that is our view. When we was in CAMACOL, we discussed many things. I have an opportunity to visit the port of Miami, the port authorities. I have also a chance to visit the airport. So we together will be more strong. I'm start to speak with authorities of Mozambique and from there to Rwanda, for example, to see our possibility to create a route, aerial route from Maputo, Luanda, Miami. I predict this route will be shorter for maybe flying time will be less than 11 hours. Today, to fly to Miami from Maputo, I have to expend more than 24 hours. So we have to create and use these lobbies to put the companies to make money for sure, but create this link to bring tourists from Europe and from Miami for all the United States to Africa and take the Africans to visit the US in shorter way. I believe this is one of the goals once pull up together with the CAMACOL and CE-CPLP will be the first step.
Very well receive, that perspective of creating shortening the distances, but you indicated that already there's this closeness between, in terms of Miami to, for example, Maputo, Mozambique, and also that the cultural distances. We are in many regards very much alike in the sense of the Latino perspective, the Portuguese, Spanish speaking. So that culturally is also a much closer approach in terms of launching different opportunities for business. With that, let me pass it on to, thank you very much for your response, Dr. Abdullah. Let me pass it to President Chi. President Chi, from the business point of view, what are the competitive advantages that CAMACOL, our region, can offer the world?
Hello. Yes. It's just that I believe that there's a lot of collaboration that could be done, especially between the Confederation of Portuguese Businesses, as well as Africa through Mozambique, because as Mr. Salimo Abdula was saying, there's a lot of different projects and a lot of different necessities which are present in the continent of Africa. I believe that through Miami, through our broad financial base in Miami, which, as you probably know, Miami with the Port of Miami and the airport, as well as the banking sector in Miami. Miami is known as the second largest financial sector in all of the United States. It is our Brickell area, which is our financial section, is known as the Wall Street of the South. We're talking about over 120 international banks with, at this point, over $1 trillion in deposits. This is money that comes, which is congregated from all of the Caribbean, as well as from Latin America. And we believe that if the proper projects are selected and presented to our platform here, we believe that a lot of different potential benefits can be gained by both sides. So I believe that this is a very good partnership that could be started, especially between Miami, between Mozambique, between Latin America, the United States, as well as with the Portuguese Confederation of Businesses.
Thank you, President Chi. And Dr. Salimo, you mentioned, as a matter of fact, a little bit of an indicator that we usually look, and many new businesses or businesses that are relocating or expanding always look at is the availability of labor. And you indicated a statistic that most people that are the demographers, especially found in Africa or South Asia, are very familiar, where they allude that indicate that about 2/3 of the population are in Africa and South Asia are below the age of 25 and younger. So from that perspective, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, our future members of our labor force or future consumers are going to be located in these parts of the world, or population growth is going to be ignited, dynamized by the population in Africa and South Asia. And therefore, businesses here in the US or in Europe will benefit from start looking at the future of the labor force that may come from Maputo, Mozambique. No, that's something that we cannot deny, and the latest statistics projections by the IMF and the World Bank stipulate by the 2040, we're going to have strong growth, population growth, particularly from those sides of the world. With that, let me move on to the next question. In regards to the culture and dynamics of the local, the different countries that you represent, Dr. Salimo, what a business person needs to be familiar with in terms of culture or regulations to open up a business or expand, their business activities in the Portuguese-speaking countries.
Thank you, Dr. Zumaeta. Before I go on this specific question, let me just comment about your comments also. So, reality, we are in a new generation in Africa at all, but Mozambique, Angola, all the PALOPs, as we call the Portuguese-speaking countries of Africa, it's very young people. So with more education than my generations. So they need access to technology to develop and add value on the resource that people. I believe if I'm Salimo Abdula, my dream is to bring and create a trust highway between Mozambique and other PALOPS countries and the USA, to create some focus on the trust and bring the solution of the resource that we've got to create a better standard of life for the people. That is my dream, and I believe through our Business Confederation, CAMACOL, we will find the ways to do business, but also we have to add value to bring more closer the political leaders, to create these dreams of the people, to facilitate the businessmen to develop the rest what we can. So that is my specific challenge to us, Dr. and President Chi. We have to link also and do our links to diplomatic way to the political leaders to build this highway of trust. So, going to your question, Dr. Zumaeta, I think the business culture and dynamics differs from countries to country. For the region in the CPLP also, due to the stage of development, for example, in African countries such as Angola, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, where the population has a level of education and development lower than Portugal and Brazil, for example, you have to consider that you will face bureaucracy and lower level of technology and technical formation. But for another point of view, you will find a young and dynamic population able to learn and small costs and salaries and benefits. So I can resume this question on these words.
Thank you. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, I just thinking of a new business or a business owner that would like to expand in these areas. And first of all, have a lot of patience for the reasons that you indicated, but then the tremendous potential there is up there for growing and capturing the young talent that will contribute to the productivity of this business. With that, let me pass to President Chi. And President Chi, what can you tell us about that? What regulatory factors, cultural factors should be considered in order for a business person from the Portuguese-speaking countries that would like to invest in the U.S.?
I also concur very much with President Salimo Abdula with the different advantages that are presented by Mozambique and Africa as well. As a chamber representing the first world, especially a very advanced country such as the United States, I would like to say that we do have a lot of synergies that are possible between our two continents. I believe that between our two continents, we can create a fourth superpower because of the advantages of technology and capital that we have in the United States, and also the advantages of natural resources and people resources in Africa as well. So I'm really, really very eager to get started. I believe that through our good friend, Mr. Damian Valenzuela, who right now is in Spain, you will be meeting me in Miami pretty soon, and we'll be glad to start our work very soon with Mr. Salimo Abdula, ready to go.
Thank you, thank you. So interesting, because when we study economics, for those of us that are more into the theoretical, academic perspective of economics, we always talk about labor-intensive and capital-intensive economies. But here we have two areas that I have mentioned that we can bring together. From one side, it could be the business with the capital that they can invest in the countries that you're indicating, Dr. Abdullah, where we capture once again that young talent, either first of all to be part of a labor force, and like President Chi mentioned, maximizing all these technologies that we have available to us, and they have become more than evident in the last couple of years due to the pandemic, that we can have employees in different parts of Africa, outside Asia, in Portugal or Brazil, working, collaborating in different business endeavors around the globe, once again, utilizing this young labor force. Okay. Anything else, Dr. Abdullah? I see that you would like to share something there with us.
Yes, thank you. I just want to highlight the name, very important, Dr. Shi mentioned here. The Damian Valenzuela was the man who linked all of us since we meet in Portugal through my vice president, Mr. Jorge Pais, which is participating in this webinar. So from there, we visit Miami, CAMACOL, and everything starts. So my salute to Damian Valenzuela and Jorge Pais for this achievement that link us, all of us. So we must not forget that. So going to the question that Dr. Zumaeta have raised, just to add that I must say nowadays, all CPLP countries have an investment promotion agency, which is a state agency. It is a good institution to have a meeting to start a conversation about how to invest and to get information regarding each sector. So beyond this, we recommend working with the local partners to reduce the risk of error resulting from lack of knowledge on how to do business in country. So local partners like companies, business chambers, entrepreneurs, etc., they can act as a local contact, but helping you to understand better the way to do business in the country, to avoid the mistake of business culture sometimes, and we pay wrong school fees. So it's my recommendation. So we defend that the investor or country with know-how and the financial capacity to invest, advance in its investment in a way of win-win, in which both win, for sure, that the local workforce can be employed, local technicians are trained, that the knowledge and technology can be transferred gradually, especially to African countries, these 6 countries, as I mentioned, from Portuguese-speaking country. That should be, in my view, the way to link and exploit the opportunities and minimize the risk of investment in abroad of your country.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Salimo, there's a question on the panel, for the panelists. They're asking if there's any specific case that you can mention of some kind of project that have ventured into this connection that you're talking about, that already is on the way or have happened or is planned.
Okay, this is specific by Mozambique and United States or any
Yes.
other?
Anyone, any specific business endeavor.
Look, in my view, I'm starting feeling that because the market of the United States is huge. We talk about scale economy. And we feel more European countries or companies in Europe than American companies. American companies go, for example, more in big oil and gas projects like ExxonMobil, this kind of levels of investment. But now we start be contacting by American companies to looking for other potential sectors such as agriculture in big scale. So that could be something very interesting, taking considerations that the world, the population is growing. So, and we need to feed that, the people. And according to the inventory that we have got, around 37% of arable land is in South America, which Brazil have one of the biggest countries with a portion of that. And another 36, around 66 and something % in Sub-Saharan Africa, which Mozambique, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, and Equatorial have these Arab land in this position and have water. So these, in terms of economy of scale, we need for sure a huge amount of investment to bring technology together. We can add value on this possibility to offer the solution of feed the population, which is growing a lot in the planet Earth. So that is what I can say. For example, in Angola, most of the investment from the USA is in oil and gas. Starting looking from some agriculture, but also is important to bring the American citizenship to not only to invest, but to visit Africa and save the Africa, to visit cultural tourism. And I know, for example, in Mozambique, some American people start visiting south of Mozambique and Bazarut Island for fishing. But we didn't, I just discovered this a few months ago, because they coming in Mozambique like South African tourists. But now I met by casualty some of the people we in conversation. We understand they came from United States of America, but still difficulty to make them to fly to Mozambique for many hours going through other countries. That is why we have to make some efforts to create some solution and put a shorter route to make minimize this time frame that's between, for example, in Miami is 6 hours behind Mozambique. So if we add of 24 hours of flight, it's complicated. So I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, very much. Thank you, Dr. Abdula. Let me take a quick break and acknowledge some people and send our greetings to the man Venezuela and be grateful to him because he was the one who made the connections for us to establish this partnership with CAMACOL and PCLP with you and trying to envision new horizons. Also, let me recognize Mr. Jorge Paez, that you already mentioned, is a president also of the association. Gigi Chasu from the city of Deerfield Beach, which I was mentioning that there's a significant size of Portuguese-speaking population in the city of Deerfield Beach. Emily Lacrosse from PUC, and to all the students from PUC that usually join us from the Pontificia University Católica del Perú. Mrs. Ponce, who is our Assistant VP for Continuing Education at FIU. Joao Figueiredo, who is the chairman of Mosa Bank, is also with us. And Mrs. Melissa Maldonado from Sagrado Corazón, la Universidad de Sagrado Corazón in Puerto Rico, which happens to be also a Portuguese-speaking resident in Puerto Rico. So we, at this point in time, maybe in the future, we can count also Puerto Rico as a Portuguese-speaking nation. Then with that, let me go to the next question, which is very specific. Let me address it to President Chi. Which are the entities that I should contact to establish business in your nation, your country, with a Portuguese-speaking country? In this case, is with the USA. Which are the specific agencies that I should contact as a business owner to explore business opportunities in your side of the world? President Chi?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. The specific institutions that you should contact here in Miami, especially here in the United States in Miami, are the following. First of all, of course, by coming to CAMACOL, the Latin Chamber of Commerce, you can, you will be able to actually be able to connect with the rest of the United States through our 300 affiliates, chambers of commerces, which are located all over the country, which you can be able to, in one shot, you can be able to access the whole country of the United States. And at the same time, through CAMACOL, which is not only the Chamber of Commerce here in the United States, but you will also be able to contact Latin America, over 20-something different countries in Latin America through our Chamber of Commerce, because in this fashion, you don't have to travel all over the country, all over the United States, in order to get in contact with the different resources we have on this side of the world. By contacting us here at CAMACOL, we act as a one-stop center for you to be able to reach almost anywhere which you are interested in doing business, not only in the United States, but also in the rest of the hemisphere as well.
Excellent. And with that, President Xi, I imagine that the U.S. Small Business Development Agency, the U.S. Department of Commerce, the different trade organizations, the representatives from the port, representatives from the airports. So all that is combined and all that information is to be provided through CAMACOL. Excellent, excellent service. What about Dr. Salimo? What entities, if you know, any business owner which should contact if would like to explore business opportunity in any of the Portuguese-speaking countries in the world?
Sorry, Dr. Zumaeta, I lost the specific question.
Yes, I was asking you, which are the entities that our business owners should contact to establish a business partnership, explore a business opportunity in CPLP countries, in the Portuguese-speaking countries?
Okay, thank you. As I mentioned, all countries we have the agencies we call APX, and in Portugal is ICEP, which is a government agency. But for sure, the chambers of commerce, like AIP is a member of the CE-CPLP, is one of the chamber of industry, could be one of the good contact to raise links with other business entrepreneurs. In Mozambique, for example, you have got the CTA. In Angola, you have got AIA, Association, the Industrial Association of Angola. But this is the private sector organization. But if depend of the size of the investment you want to do, through the agencies like APX, like ICEP in Portugal, is the way to link to see what is kind of law you need, so what kind of fiscal incentive you have got. For example, in Mozambique, we have got APX. Sorry, APX is the agency of state can offer to the new investor or the local investor some fiscal benefits, which can go to 5 years plus 5, to allow this investor to take back your capital from his country. And for example, after he recovers all the capital, he can benefit for 75% of your profit to take off of the country. You only need to put 25% reinvest, but he can also stay 5 years exemption of the tax. So many benefits. So the agency is the best way to avoid mistakes and do everything to avoid pay the bad fees. And all these investment in Mozambique have to be registered if it's a foreign capital in the central bank, to allow them, when he's recover his investment, to make easy expatriate your capital. That is my recommendation. Is more or less with the few difference between Mozambique and Angola and Guinea, such as that. But ICEP, in between the 9 countries, ICEP is from Portugal, is more dynamic. They go to support entrepreneurs, internationalization in other countries. But also you can feel the edges like Mozambique and Angola and Brazil also to come to support the internationalization of the local companies.
Interesting, very, very important, and to those companies that work internationally, to repatriate, to move cash revenues from one country to another country is obviously very important. Thank you, Dr. Salimo. Let me move on to the next question. And President Xi, how does CAMACOL reinvent itself over the past couple of years? I mean, by today, most of the world have experienced the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been 2 years, believe it or not. How did CAMACOL reinvent itself over the last 2 years to serve its members in the community? President Chi? I don't know if he can hear me. President Chi, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a reception here over in Istanbul. It's a little different from what I get in the United States. So sometimes you might find all kinds of interferences here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, we understand. We understand. It's the sun, the blue water, the ocean. We understand, President Chi.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I believe that especially in our situation here, I believe that we must find ways to combine all the forces necessary, not only on the commercial basis, but at the same time, we have you here representing FIU. I believe there's a huge opportunity for us to be able to work with the educational institutions as well. The way to channel a lot of our softer, non-monetary, educational, and softer capacities over is, I believe, one of the best ways to do so is through our educational institutions. If you remember Jorge, the last time we spoke on a webinar, the same similar webinar, but to the country of Brazil, to the Nationwide Chamber of Commerce here. One of the things that they had mentioned was that they had a shortage of computer programmers and IT workers. And I also mentioned that to them at that time that FIU, which is your institution, which of course is part of our group as CAMACOL, FIU is also one of the institutions that has graduated the largest amount of computer programmers here in the United States. And a lot of them went on to work in Silicon Valley, California, up in the northeastern part of the United States, up by New York, and all the technological capacities up in Boston as well. So I spoke to them and I said, look, a good way would be for FIU to be able to link up their institutions with Brazil. And by the same token, I would also like to mention that FIU has a great opportunity to link into Africa through Mozambique, all the way down to Angola to South Africa through Mr. Salimo Abdula. So I believe this is another avenue which we may take in order to be able to share our capabilities mutually.
Very true, very true. And thank you. That should be part of our strategic plan in terms of capturing young talent that for sure, as we mentioned before, will be part of our labor force. But Joe, let me ask you this. I mean, I know that CAMACOL played a key role in the last couple of years in terms of assisting the community, the business community and the community in general, in terms of overcoming all the challenges that were created by an economic slowdown created by COVID. Can you tell us a little bit how the Chamber's position itself to assist its membership?
Basically, when it's a common situation where you are presented with a crisis.
President Chi. I will pose the same question to Dr. Abdula.
Either temporarily or permanently, but what we saw in CAMACOL was we saw an opportunity to be able to reaffirm our alliances and expand our alliances. At first, it was tentative. It was done mostly on a virtual basis, through Zoom, through the different connecting linkages. But then went out after creating those linkages. We went out and actually started traveling around quite a bit, and we reaffirmed those linkages. Whereas at the beginning, we had perhaps we were the largest network of chambers in the state of Florida. Right now, because of the expansion of those linkages virtually and also live, we had expanded to over 300 chambers of commerces here in the United States, which actually makes us the largest alliance of chambers in the country.
Thank
By
you.
the same token, internationally, we expanded from approximately 40 chambers to over 250 chambers. So we actually were able to take advantage of the COVID-19 restriction situations and expand ourselves in that direction. And that's one of the reasons why I find myself traveling right now. I just came from Spain, and then I went to Athens, and now I am in Istanbul, Turkey, and I will be in Israel in 2 days from now. So we just have to, we must never stop, no matter what the challenges are.
Thank you. Thank you for serving as an example and for sharing all those beautiful places that you're visiting and taking the message out and with open arms and open hearts to welcome in. I'm not talking specifically about business, to welcome in to start linking with our local businesses and our students to take it to the next level. Thank you, President Yochi. Dr. Abdula, so how, the Association of Portuguese-speaking countries came together to work with the different members, the different countries and so forth during the past 2 years?
Okay, so I believe you are referring to the crisis situation created by the COVID-19, and now the new COVID in form of the war in Europe facing. So, well, we have always said that there are no magic formula to overcome the crisis, but fortunately, the pandemic has shown us that we are capable to activating our survival instinct. So it was not easy, but as CE-CPLP, we had to put negativism aside and look for opportunities, and we advise our members to do the same. We had to demonstrate to everyone that the pandemic taught us the need to invest in business diversification, the need to innovate and to always be attentive to development of technologies. We gave all possible support, creating partnership, holding online events, webinars, to approach new markets and new business partners, as well as, for example, last year, we held a business summit in Equatorial Guinea in the midst of a situation still of same fear due to the pandemic. Let's see that, for example, our closest approach to CAMACOL was in the past year, still in the middle of the pandemic. So we have to move along as a leader. We have to show commitment. We have to encourage the companies. Otherwise, we just sit in the crisis. So that was our action. We do our in Equatorial Guinea, the first business summit, which was very successful. We joined leaders, government leaders, business leaders, diplomatics, to try to design our way of growth of the community to bring solution to better standard of life of our people.
Right. With this, Dr. Salimo, I imagine the financial sector is invited to part of these conversations in terms of facilitating loans, startup funding for all these the new companies, no? This is a comment specifically that comes from Mr. Joao Figueiredo, who's the chairman of Mosa Bank. So I imagine this successful event that you just mentioned in New Guinea, is that the financial sector is also present there. No?
Yes. The development bank is one of tools necessary for the community to help not only states but the private company to help to develop one of the biggest challenges we have got in the community, infrastructures, and also to support the companies to bring new technologies to the PALOPS countries to help the countries to add value the resource that we have got. For example, countries such as Mozambique and Angola cannot just lie down for the commodities. That will not help us. We have, as I mentioned, 75% of the population is youth, less than 30 years old. So the add value on these resources like mineral resource, agribusiness, tourism, etc., is the solution to bring the industry to absorb this youth in the country. And we understand the observation of this youth in work will reduce any kind of social problems, crime issues, and because we bring back the standard of life of the people. And I believe this will make these 6 African countries a paradise to host and plan the biggest tourism projects for our 6 Portuguese countries, which are all of them blessed by sun, sea, and good environment.
You partially answered my next question, but I couldn't be in more agreement with you. You know, all these socioeconomic development will really lead to lower crime, lower poverty, higher standard of living, and the growing of a middle class that will consume and travel back and forth from the U.S. and from the U.S. to Africa, to South Asia, to Portugal, to Brazil. Very welcome your comment, Dr. Salimo. Let me go on to the last question of today, which has to do a little bit with business opportunities. If I'm coming, President Xi, if I come into you and say, listen, I have some disposable income that I would like to put to good use. What are the business opportunities that you see in the U.S., in Miami, in the region of in Florida? What would be the business opportunity that you see developing?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Jorge Zumaeta. One of the reasons why, for example, let me go back a little bit, that we're able to thrive, not just survive, but thrive during the COVID-19 pandemic, is that we believe in taking advantage of collaborations and synergies between what we had to offer as a community and the challenges that we saw in other communities, and also vice versa. We have challenges here. At the same time, there were advantages in other parts of the world and communities that we could learn from in order to be able to not only survive, but at the same time thrive successfully. And over here in Miami, what we have been seeing a lot, especially during the different challenges that you see in Latin America right now, with the different governments changing and the instability, during all that time of instability in other countries down to the south of us in Latin America, Miami has actually, instead of being unstable, it has actually succeeded and thrived because of a large amount of capital influx that would come in from those countries. But at the same time, that has also created another challenge. In our financial sector, we're talking about over $1 trillion of capital, which are basically sitting in our banks and being invested in different places like real estate, which is making our living standard unsustainably high. A lot of the properties have been going up. So we need to find a way to find other outlets for these capital, for this capital which is being accumulated in Miami. And I believe that by stretching out and joining hands with Dr. Salimo Abdula, that we can possibly find some of the projects and challenges which we can help to solve in Africa. For example, in our chamber, we also have some of the largest infrastructure companies in the United States, which are members of our chamber, which are also very interested in projects overseas. They just spoke to me the other day. They said they're interested in projects in Latin America, in places like Africa, and places like that. And, you know, I believe that by finding out and matching the advantages and disadvantages of each and every community, we can find a common front to be able to mutually benefit from our situation.
Thank you, President Chi. You kind of answered that question already, Dr. Abdullah. I don't know if you would like to add anything in terms of what business opportunities are projected in the. Can you elaborate if you would like to expand? I have a few questions for you that are posted, but what are the trends? If I come to you and say, Dr. Salimo, I have some cash laying around, I have some disposable income that I would like to put to good use in Mozambique, in Lisbon, in South Asia. What would you recommend? What are the opportunities out there of investment in the Portuguese-speaking countries?
Okay, I'll do a big picture, then a specific thing that we can comment for business-to-business opportunities. I must say to Dr. Zumaeta and President Chi that I was just checked the email. I received an invitation by American Embassy, my company Intellect Holdings, to visit the United States for first days of June, because they're gonna have a big show of franchising. So this, we will, with the pleasure, to check what is kind of franchise and expertise of the United States we can buy and bring to Mozambique. When say Mozambique, maybe to Angola, to other countries. So May is a good opportunity to us to meet again and discuss some of the issues that we plan to the future for CAMACOL and CE-CPLP. So in other ends, I must say we have created in a Business Confederation a unit called a business unit, which is a new unit to help businessmen which have the capital and want bring and invest in one of our countries. So this is a business unit. The coordinator is a lady. This is Nelma Fernandez. It should be here also through my team. You can register any contact formal through the Business Confederation. Through this unit, Mrs. Nelma Fernandez can help, and for sure. Then on top of that, myself and Mr. Jorge N is my vice president from Portugal in the CE-CPLP are here. We will also add value to bring solution or advice for any businessman in the United States who'd like to invest in one of our 9 countries. So I must say that. In general, of the question, I must say, I think this question is directly related at the previous ones. So the CPLP's opportunities are in sectors such as energy, as I mentioned before, but also in agriculture, tourism, education, and other key sectors for development. For example, services, infrastructures, name it. With the amount of Arab land that our countries have, we can, in the short term, invest to provide various products that can improve food quality on planet Earth. I have mentioned that on my comments. For example, the African country of the CPLP, for example, will need a lot of financial investment and know-how to exploit this capacity. The CPLP represents 3.5% of the world GDP, around 16.3% of the planet's freshwater reserves, 5.48% of the world's sea and offshore platforms. So the 3 CPLP countries are in the top 10 of the biggest discoverer of hydrocarbons on the planet on the past 10 years. These data demonstrate that if the CPLP were a country, it will be the 6th largest economy in the world. and that we can be important players and leaders in sectors such as agriculture, industry, energy, tourism, fishing, among others. So the potential higher, we need partners for that. So the CPLP owns resources that give it the ability to be community with a very high and significant numbers of jobs, income in one of the most solid and expressive industry in the world, the tourism industry. Our community can be a reference for ecological tourism, for example, of sun and sea, responsible hunting, and based on the conservation of the environment and biodiversity. All CPLP countries are blessed with sun, sea, and a highly favorable climate that allow us to think that the dream of 9 countries, 4 continents, gathered in a single tourist package can be a reality. We know, for example, now with all this new order of the world is coming, the people in Europe and the US and other developed countries will reduce the hours of work physically. Where they will invest is time, traveling to new culture, and Africa can offer still original country almost in the planet, can offer this ecological tourism. So we dream one package, 9 countries, 4 continents, blessed by sun, sea, and other climates, and good people. So we need partners, and US could be one of the partners with the financial capacity, know-how to join hands with the CPLP or CE-CPLP and bring this a new industry, future industry, the tourism with this considerable scale to offer the planet. So the Business Confederation of the CPLP is here to help. As I mentioned, our business unit is new, but it's to help the new ventures, the new advising for the capital ones get inside of the Portuguese-speaking countries. Please feel free to ask for our support in all matters you need to invest or reinforce CPLP countries' capacity to grow up. As I mentioned, please, our team to facilitate the business unit, to call in Portuguese, Unidade de Negócios, business unit. So Dr. Nelma Fernandez is our responsible for coordinating, bring us to the board. So our team can share the contact and all the details to facilitate these business links.
We have several questions from our audience, which due to time constraints, we will answer them offline. I will pass it on to you, to your staff, Dr. Salimo, and we will answer later offline, like I was saying, because I mean, due to time constraints. With that, thank you for your answer. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I just can't, mind-blowing in terms of thinking about the wonderful opportunities that we can generate by bringing our economies together, by bringing our populations together. I will allow you and President Chi to give his closing remarks in a bit, but let me start with mine. I just would like to thank everybody that have participated in this event. You, Dr. Salimo Abdula, the members of CAMACOL, the members here, the students at FIU, PUC, Mr. Joe Chi, President of CAMACOL as well. I would like to thank Mrs. Mrs. Mercedes Ponce from FIU Continuing Education, Danai Barata and Sharima Smith, who are essential to making this webinar series possible. Your team, Dr. Salimo, who has been, very diligent in assisting us in putting this together. From the CAMACOL perspective, also I want to thank Mrs. Estefania Laredo and Rosalba Cepeda, hopefully the next one, if Commissioner Gore can be with us as well. I remind our audience that at the end of the webinar, they'll be receiving an email inviting them to participate in our a short survey. Please don't forget to complete it because we get the feedback about this today's event, and also it gives us more ideas on what to keep bringing to you. I would like to invite you to our next webinar on Thursday, April 21st, 2022. Stay tuned for updates. We will share more information with about the panelists and the organizations that we'll be working with. That's on Thursday, April 21st, 2022. Let me recognize once again Mr. Damian Valenzuela Mayer, Mr. Jorge Paez. We share the same name, Jorge Paez. Mrs. Gigi Jasu from the city of Deerfield Beach, Emily Lacrosse from the Pontificia Universidad Católica del Perú, Mrs. Ponce, which I just mentioned, Mr. Joao Figueiredo, chair of Mosa Bank, and all the members of the audience that have participated today. Once again, we will answer your questions offline. We will share the questions with the respective member of the panel, and they will be able to share answer to you directly. With that said, let me bring Dr. Shi for his closing remarks.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Number one, to meet my good friend again, Dr. Salimo Abdula, and also all the great efforts that Florida International University has done in order to provide this wonderful platform, which we may interact with not only with each other, but with the rest of the world as well, which has been one of the benefits of the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic, which has separated us, has actually brought us closer to the rest of the world, electronically, virtually, and pretty soon, as we believe that the pandemic is receding away pretty soon, in person and live as well too. And we really look forward to getting together with our good friend, Dr. Salimo, along with FIU, and along with Damian Valenzuela and the chamber and all the resources we have in order to be able to come to terms at some way of being able to work on the challenges and also on the goals and the dreams that he has for the 9 nations of the Confederation of Portuguese-speaking commerce and businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me pass it on to Dr. Salimo for your closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zumaeta, for this organization. So that is wonderful, and this dialogue will for sure create a difference for the next step that we intend to do. But for my friend and President, she enjoy life where we are in the moment. So soon, in a couple of weeks or months, we will be meet together in the US, and we will continue to discuss until to find the good ways to do business first, and continues to link the CAMACOL and CE-CPLP. Certainly, I couldn't forget my friend Damian Valenzuela. Is the one of the motivators and the linkage this wonderful team we start between CAMACOL and CE-CPLP. I hope to come to visit your university, Dr. Zumaeta, because the university is the solution we need in the countries undeveloped, the knowledge, and we will talk about that to try to link with the universities in Mozambique and Angola, and maybe this partnership will make difference to make the conscience of the youth, what we discuss here could be a solution for our countries also. So I must mention the president of the Women's Federation of CPLP. I hear Mrs. Maria Abdullah say, following that is another important sector to link the women on the business. because they could be also the wonderful solution, the challenge that we face in our trips. So thank you very much. God bless you all, and keep healthy and happy. And soon, as in Mozambique we say, estamos juntos. Together we are.
Estamos juntos. Thank you, Dr. Salimo Abdula, from representing the Association of Portuguese-speaking countries in the world. So thank you, President Xi, representing the Latin American Chamber of Commerce of the USA. Thank you, all our teams. With that, I would like to say, well, I mean, let me share something with you. I think we have some representatives from the International Development Bank on one side, and then we have also Ms. Kemi Arosin from the World Trade Center in Miami. So your words are being heard not only by, geographically in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, in Latin America, in North America, but they're being heard by people that are very much interested in seeing this dynamic relationship building up in order to provide opportunity solutions to many issues that we have through business development, which will impact socioeconomic development. With that, I want to say, boa tarde, boa noite, buenas tardes, buenas noches, bom pomeriggio, buona notte, y good night, good evening, good night. All, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Salimo. We wait for you in Miami so we can do lunch together.
Muito obrigado.
Muito obrigado. Muito obrigado. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.